People of the PBL, welcome to Game 5, question mark? Game 5, already 5 games deep into the season. I know it was a long break, but it's so good to have PBL time back. Today's matchup will be the UNC Tar Heels versus the Kentucky Wildcats. Should be a good matchup today. You know, these teams, newly rebranded Magic, coming over the Kentucky Wildcats. You know, former team of the year, they had a bad run last year, had to go with the rebrand, sent them into like a little bit of a recession, but here they are facing the UNC Tar Heels, one of the most efficient teams in the PBL. You know, haven't faced that great of competition, but here they are trying to make a name for themselves, trying to play better competition, and this is definitely a good candidate to get that done. I'm here with Troy Spencer. I'm Matthew Bove. We're gonna be commentating this game. Should be an interesting matchup. Troy, let's get right into the predictions. You know, how do you feel about this matchup? Who can you see coming out on top of this one?
You know, we see the Kentucky Wildcats play early in the season, you know, I think 2 games ago. They look very good, I'm not going to lie. Their chemistry, you know, the Orlando Magic chemistry definitely carried over into this new franchise. They look good. As for the UNC Tar Heels, you know, they're one of those teams that are arguably a little overrated in the league. You know, they're sitting inside the top 10 right now. And they're trying to hold that spot. They're trying to keep that name. And this is going to be their first real decent test. So, could go either way in my eyes. Saying that, I think I'm going to take the Kentucky Wildcats here to upset the UNC Tar Heels. I just think, you know, Dobbs is playing pretty good. Tanner, right now, on top of the league, 2-0. I just see them keeping it alive. Still think it's going to be a close game. We'll say it's 21-16, Kentucky Wildcats.
Wow, that's a great prediction. I'm going to take the opposite. I'm going to split you here down the middle. I'm going to say it's going to be a monster game from Drew Gnotic off the back of a bad performance in game, or not really a bad performance, but a bad loss to the Trailblazers in Game 4. You know, I think he's going to come out shooting. I think we're going to see a lot of 2-pointers drop, and he's going to put the Tar Heels on his back in a 22-18 victory over the Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah, Drew's still looking for his first win in the league too. Also.
I know, that's pretty surprising, honestly. I think, you know, I think he's still getting ready, getting used to this ball. You know, getting back into PBL. Got to get the cardio back. Not many people realize, you know, how draining it is to play a PBL game. You know, you're not a professional PBL player. I know everyone says that, you know, I could be in the PBL. No, you can't. Like, this is the real deal, bro.
Yep.
But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the action.
21-18 Wildcats.
Good?
All right, we are almost ready here. The players about to tip off the ball and start Game 5 of Season 4 PBL. Here we go. Lucas for Taco starting with the ball. Main ball handler, you know, I think the ball would normally be, all right.
Do I have to turn it off?
And, bro, you know how to use it?
Don't you just press start pause?
Hang on.
What's going on?
Dude,
You know what time?
you gotta flip on start.
Fuck everything!
No, like, there's a start button. Now you should be able to use it.
Hey, it's 1-0 with the front.
Yeah.
Guys?
Yes.
Alright, dude, I don't know how to fucking use this.
Alright,
thing.
give it to
I'm pressing
Troy.
fucking
Alright,
have
pause,
a- have-
bro, and it's
have
just
a-
not working.
Just give it to Troy. Switch camera.
Get rid of the camera.
I've never used this again.
All right, sorry for the autism. There's 1 point on the
The thing is
scoreboard
not stopping.
for.
Yeah, it's not supposed to stop.
Alright, I got it.
No, be, like,
Alright.
pause the shot clock.
Got it.
Pause the shot
Yeah,
clock.
they're guests, right?
All right. Are you
can.
guys guest or home?
Alright,
I
Rico.
got it,
I got it.
don't even need to pause.
Let's
Pause.
go.
I got it.
Let's
Good.
go.
Pause or it's ram.
Let's go!
All right, here we go. Taco, score the ball. Sorry, guys, that was fucking retarded. Here we go again. Now back to Drew. Has the ball here. Driving on Tanner Gauthier. Up with the left hand. Doesn't go. He's going to get the offensive rebound, though. Looks for his teammate, Taco. And it's going to be out of bounds on the Tar Heels. That wasn't in the frame, sorry. This is a shit show of a game right now. Sorry, guys. We pride ourselves on our production quality, and that is not up to standard right now.
What you wanted to hit my ball?
All right, let's lock in here. Dom D, backing down Taco. Taco, put on some size in the offseason. He's looking pretty big. You know, should help him here down the post against Dom D. And the good defensive play by Taco. Gets the ball back for the Tar Heels. Drew, spot up shooter. Doesn't make it. He air balls to the left. They're going to have transition here for the Wildcats. Tanner Gauthier with a midi. And he hits it. scores the first point for the Wildcats. And this is a high-powered game so far. Very quick pace. You know, a lot of shots going up quick. Taco with a rebound there after a Dom miss. Taco gets it up top, looking out to his teammate Drew, puts up the floater and gets it to go. And like I said, this is a fast game here, folks. A 5-second offense from both teams here, just putting up shots. A lot of volume so far. Taco with a crazy shot from 2. Doesn't go. Tanner Gauthier rebound. And they're settling here. Dom puts up a shot of his own. Doesn't go. Taco, another board. So lengthy. Drew with a crazy fadeaway shot. Another offensive board from Taco. Puts it up and finishes over Tanner Gauthier. Some great plays from Taco to win some extra possessions and get some points on the board there. You know, Drew was stuck in the deep end, but Taco fighting down low, getting multiple offensive rebounds and doing it on both ends now as he gets a hook shot from his spot. If you've watched any PBL games in the past, you know that that is his spot, folks.
Taco looking phenomenal here in his Season 4 debut. And the Tar Heels, that was a good lead.
And there's the connection from the Tar Heels. We've seen a great lob connection from them. There's a lot of passing in the Tar Heels games. Tanner Gauthier is going to get a steal right there. Not quite in frame. Dom with a dunk. A rare occurrence. You know, he came into the season feeling a little off, you know, had some knee issues. He said he's feeling a lot better now. Didn't make the finals last year, and he's determined to get back there. Tanner Gauthier, as he hits a fadeaway 2, and he puts up 4 points for the Wildcats to tie this game up. And this is very competitive, Troy.
Dom D and Tanner both looking like they're going to have their best season this year.
I know, on the playoff push towards the end is going to be absolutely insane. I think there's so many competitors that can have a chance this year. You saw Luke Bove in game 2 or 3 put up 10 points by himself. You know, who really is going to make it out, we don't know. It's going to be one of the most competitive seasons we've had thus far.
Yeah, not to mention Colin Spencer out of the playoffs already.
Yeah, Colin Spencer, unfortunate. You know, one of those players that was up there for the MVP case last year, and it's just a shame that he's not here this year. But there's some big shoes to fill. Who's going to take up a spot? We're going to find that out this year. And Drew puts up the Tar Heels another 2-pointer to put them up by 2.
He's like tweaking me out.
And the pace, I mentioned it before. Dom D does whatever it takes to get his steals. We know this.
Hurt my face like this.
Did I?
Yeah.
Lucas for Taco. Back to the well. He's got 2 spots. This is one of them. Puts it up, and he gets it. Loves that spot on the left side of the hoop, but he also loves this one. Seen some game winners from that spot. You know, he really is just one of those players that when he gets to his spot and he's hitting, it's all money. Drew Gnotic, and you can see the UNC Tar Heels are heating up here.
Yeah, you know, maybe they took a lot of that overrated talk to disrespect, and the Tar Heels are just looking phenomenal to start this game.
And, you know, Taco's looking more physical than I think I've ever seen him. You know, these are 2 of the most physical players, the Wildcats, Dom and Tanner. And I feel like he's really holding his own. And might be, Tanner says off Taco, and it's going to be Wildcats ball.
Water just fucking...
You know, I'm really surprised by how competitive this game is right now, Troy. You know, like I mentioned, the pace, you know, not really known, I feel like the Wildcats to be one of those faster teams. UNC Tar Heels known for their efficiency. And there's a foul called by Dom.
All the shit you do, you have to shoot for it.
And he will shoot as customary in the PBL, and he'll make it. So the foul is confirmed. So the Wildcats will get another possession here. Drew and Dom, already going at it. You know, this is a pretty heated rivalry, Troy. Wow, what a block by Taco. And Troy, this rivalry from Dom D and Drew. Give us some light on this rivalry.
You know, frustration coming from Drew there as Don B calls the foul, and Don B known to foul the most of anyone. No one else really calls it. But yeah, you know, frustrating both ends. These 2 love going at it, and they expect a very physical rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, two physical players. They're very passionate about this league. Dom getting inside on Drew. Drew, great defense. Gets a block. No, we can't. Puts up another two. What did I say? I predicted this from the start. I said Drew was going to hit a lot of 2-pointers this game, and that's what's happened thus far. He is angry. You do not want to get this man angry after a Game 4 loss as the Boston Celtics. He is hungry for a win here, getting his first win, still searching for it, and he's off to a great start right now. Kind of stagnant on this possession, although he does find space, is inside. Dom wraps him up. Shot clock's gonna run down, and it goes. Just frustrating possession right there. Great defense from the Wildcats, so you have to give them credit. Good help defense from Dom to wrap it up. Dom gives him in the screen. Taco looking, might have got tipped. It does get tipped. Taco gets the ball himself. Recovers. He's got a step maybe. He's getting into his spot. We talked about it. That one doesn't go though, and Tanner's gonna get the board. Maybe looking for something in transition. Takes the two. Wow. Bang! Tanner Gauthier.
Wet like water.
And like we mentioned, a new player here in season 4 had a down year last year, but here he is, and a great defensive play by Drew Gnotic. Flashing. Oh. Wow. Just unfortunate there. Dom D with a screen on Tanner Gauthier. Almost gets a hand on it from Taco. And they decide to leave Drew wide open. Questionable decision, and he bangs it in. Tar Heels up 13-6.
Wow. And Drew Gnotic just game play right at this moment.
I know, he's a quick takeover at this point, I think. He is absolutely humming here on offense. Puts up another two. That one to the left again. Dom gets the rebound. Oh, Taco. Good find and a mid-range shot by Tanner Gauthier.
What a spin move by Don D. Just perfectly timing it with Taco's reach. Huge amount of space created.
I know, we see both teams getting aggressive, and sometimes it leads to open points like that. Dom, great pump fake to get Taco in the air. And really, everyone in the pool right now looks like really good. Everyone, improving from last season. It feels like this is the most competitive year, like I was saying. Tanner scores on Drew. What a great move to get him in the air.
Wildcats making a nice little run here. Cut the lead to 4, and no lead safe unless it's over 8.
No, yeah, this is a game of runs here in the PBL. So, I mean, really, possessions matter the most. Drew with a steal there. Puts it up to Taco. Takes his time and the hook, and he gets it. Just back and forth here.
And Taco really utilizing his height here in his first debut game. Guarded a lot by 2 smaller guys. And this is out, but they're looking good.
He's looking for Dom D down low. He's had some success against Drew thus far, but Drew gets a block there. Dom puts it up at 2, rims out. We've seen a defensive game here so far, but also we've seen a lot of 2-pointers like that one from Drew Gnotic that falls again. Maybe his 4th 2-point shot of this game, and he is absolutely on fire.
They call him Transition Drew because when he gets that ball and he's running toward the line and he pulls it, it almost always goes in.
We're gonna get a ramp reset. Not a whole lot of ramps, I feel like, this year compared to last year so far.
I think that could be a test of people playing a little bit more clean defense, not getting as many pokes.
Wildcats get a possession here. They're gonna go to Tanner down low. Tanner kind of throwing elbows. I don't really fucking know what's happening. But a great defensive play from Taco. Gets another wide open 2 from, oh my gosh, but he misses. What a great bounce right to Taco. Absolutely perfect. And he says, go to work, young man. Taco here against Tanner. Backing him down, finding his spot. He's there. Working inside. Great job and physical, and he finishes.
With 1 second
wow.
shot clock.
With contact, he goes up and finishes a tough shot over Tanner Gothier.
Is that right?
And just 4 more points here for the Tar Heels. Great job by Taco to win the ball back. You know, Dom, great. Oh, what an air ball. Wow. That was surprising. You know, we've had a clean game so far. And here we go with the Wildcats. Another possession here. Going back to Tanner Gothier. He's had success against Drew, maybe a little bit. But Drew is lengthy and he can block some shots. Wow. Tanner, right in his mitt, hits a fadeaway midi. And now 10 points for the Wildcats. All it takes is one run, like you were saying, Troy.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough task for the Wildcats, but it's good that they have the ball right now.
Oh my God!
And the transition points have been killing them, but Drew does not get that one to go.
Drive.
He's going to find Tanner. They're slowing down the offense. Thinking about putting up a shot, maybe. He does, and he hits it. Tanner Gothier.
Tanner Gothier, right now, as of this game is going, he is #1 in the league in terms of rating. And he's playing great to start the season.
You know, little chip on his shoulder coming into this year. Completely missed the playoffs last year. Said he'd be back. And great shot there by Dom. Tanner, absolutely having a great season right now. Making a case for an all-star appearance. Blocked by Taco.
That's huge.
Taco, he's doing it all with his length today. Putting up shots, getting offensive rebounds, and flashing the leather, getting some blocks on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and the Wildcats here slowly and steadily making their little comeback.
And Tanner taking it to him. He's had a lot of success backing down Drew so far. And they're gonna go back to Taco. And what a run from the Kentucky Wildcats, bringing them back to within 2 points.
Did they have 18? No, 17.
Dom gonna check the ball.
You know, the Tar Heels really got to dig in, get a stop, get a bucket, and, you know, play this game like it's 0-0.
And really, all it takes is one stop, and here it is.
That was a huge block by Lucas there in that position.
It's all about runs, and they just have to get one more to finish off this game. Drew puts it up and gets a floater with lots of contact from Tanner. Tanner almost poking that one free. And now just 3 points remaining.
Potentially the shot the Tar Heels needed to get their momentum back.
And Drew goes right back. Oh! Rims right out. It looks pretty good. Not quite cleared yet. Now it is. Tanner in the post. Back against Drew, and he gets another floater. Tanner Gothier, very efficient so far in this game. He's been great down low.
Pulled up a Luka Doncic no jump floater.
16?
Yeah, it is. It says it on my story.
Dom goes right down low at Taco. What a block! Back down, quick transition. Puts it up and it rims in. Wow, in just one
This thing
bucket
is weird.
away.
It says 16 on mine. Big.
Little scoreboard error. I think we're good now. And Drew just needs one 2-pointer to end this game. Will he go for it? Or will he wait for his shot? I think he'll wait.
Yeah, I think he's backing down.
He does not want to give this ball back to the Kentucky Wildcats. Great double by Dom. And he's going to get a possession. Drew needs to step up. Gets it.
Go for game!
Takes it. Oh my gosh.
Definitely some arm there on the shot.
Yep, he's going to call that one. And he makes it.
You know, could have had the fast break opportunity there. Goes for the 2 instead, draws the foul. Yeah, Target made possession here.
Did we change something of limited time calls?
No.
I don't think that's by sure.
Whose idea was that? I've heard this.
And Lucas Taco is going to start with the ball. He's actually been bodying them. He gets to his spot pretty nice. Has made some, hasn't made others. Puts up a wild shot. and he calls a foul on Dom D. He's going to have to shoot for it, though. And he does not get it.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Lucas has been doing a pretty good job backing Dom D down in this game. He's one of those guys that are really difficult to back down, but, Dom D helps them in that possession.
And Taco taking some questionable shots here. He's got to get up on the screen, though. Oh, bad communication. He steps back. And a great tip in from Dom to get the one and save a point. The communication was not there from the Tar Heels right there. And they had a wide open shot.
And Dom D, I don't know if you've noticed this, but he seems to have a little more bounce in his, jumps here.
Oh yeah, he definitely does. It's definitely his knees feeling healthier. Almost gets a hand on that one. Taco with another rebound. He's had a lot of those in this game. Gives it back to Drew. He wants to put an end to this game. Puts up a shot, and it's in. And he'll call it a one himself. Great sportsmanship from Drew. Yeah. It did look like he was just inside. And just one more point to end this game. It's been a physical one, and definitely a draining one.
Both teams playing their absolute heart out. It's Drew going in for the win.
And he puts it back. And it ends the game for the UNC Tar Heels, getting the win over the Kentucky Wildcats despite a physical game. And let's go to the winning train. Let's go to the winning team. Hang on. I'm here with the winners of this game, the UNC Tar Heels. We're going to do a team interview here. A lot of people have been saying you guys haven't faced a lot of good competition. The rankings have you in the top 10 currently. Definitely an efficient team, but haven't played a lot of great competition. That right there was a great test right there, and you came out with the victory despite a hard-fought victory. How do you feel about your performance so far, Drew Ganonik?
Yeah, in that game, I thought it was a gritty game. Thought it was, pretty clean both sides, honestly. Not too much to complain about, but yeah, Taco. Yeah, honestly, I agree. We haven't played too much good competition. That was a good test there. Just immediately shoot it. I finally got back on track. Had a rough couple first games. Finally feels good to get a win on the board. And shout out to Taco. Had some big stops down the end. So couldn't have won that game without Taco there. So yeah.
Thank you, Drew. Lucas for Taco, you just played your first game of season 4. How do you feel? You looked great in there. You got a lot of offensive rebounds. You were holding your own down the post. Definitely put on some size, it looks like, this year. How did you feel about your first performance this year?
I honestly felt really good. First game of the season, like you said, so the 2-point shots will fall at some point. Got to get my shot back. Before that game, Drew looked at me and he was like, "I'm 0-2 to start, dude. Can we get a win?" I was like, "Yeah, I got you. Don't worry about it." Got in the pool, took care of business. Like Drew said, couldn't do it without me. I couldn't do it without him. So good team win there. It was a good test. Worked hard in the off season. Looks like it paid off at least for game 1. So see how the rest of the season go.
Congratulations on a good start, guys.
Thanks.
And let's go over to the team that did not win this game. Kentucky Wildcats. We'll start with Dom D here. Dom, it was a very physical game. Compliments from Drew. He said it was a clean game, after maybe a rough game 4. Real tough matchup down low. It seems like Taco was giving you guys some offensive rebounds. What could have gone better for that game for the Wildcats?
Just make shots. I think that's what it came down to. We had a lot of missed shots. That's all. Taco played great defense. Could have capitalized better down low, but I got blocked like 2 or 3 times. That's all.
Thank you. Tanner Goss here. What an amazing game from you. You look like a different player here after missing the playoffs last year. What has changed? What did you do this offseason to make this happen?
Don't flick it at me. Fuck.
No. Just been in the gym, playing a little basketball. Not really too much has changed. I'm down like 15 pounds from last season, so I guess. But I honestly don't feel like much quicker. But I just gotta figure out how not to get fucking blocked every time I shoot the ball, and then because when I don't get blocked, most of the times it goes in. But yeah, I thought we played pretty good. It was a close game.
Yeah, great game, guys. All right, let's go to the outro. Off by 1 point. I said 21-18. The UNC Tar Heels. I predicted that Drew would hit a lot of 2-pointers. That did happen. We saw a great game here in Game 5. Quite a few great games to start off this season, and UNC Tar Heels come out with the victory in this one. What an exciting game. We're glad to have you guys back. Rain or shine, it's PBL time. You know the saying. But Troy, any closing statements before we get out of here?
You know, I just saw Lucas Rutaco. He's just looking unbelievable this year. The only undefeated player through 5 games of the season. You know, watch out for Lucas' playoff run, maybe returning. That's all I gotta
I mean,
say.
so many players that can make it this year with the unfortunate news of Colin Spencer maybe missing the entire season. You know, who's going to step up? That's going to be the biggest storyline this year. Stay tuned. We'll see you in Game 6. See ya.